So you got the first Sunday of the year. I want to throw out their Happy New Year to everybody. And last year was a hell of a year. Let's revisit a few things there. We've gained a few really cool brothers, and we've lost some people. Always keep that in your mind and your heart. It's interesting. So many people get gathered up on the place in their brain that they think they got to be. You're joining me on my little back stoop area where my deep freezer and everything's at. My $50 deep freezer I got off of Craigslist. I don't smoke in the house. This room isn't part of the house. So this year in review, 2014, you know, we moved into the shop. We moved out from behind the house in 2013, August of 2013, out of the 30 by 30. Moved into 1,800 feet in Johnston, which I hate. I hated moving there. It was a good shop for us. It was good for exactly what it's supposed to be. I don't mind the cat. She's annoying. One of those cat things. We're going to take her and her sister up, I think, and get them fixed here this spring. So, that being there, you know, the big problem we ran into out back was I started back there and I could play off I was a hobbyist. And we started taking on serious projects and doing serious work and really doing something with it. I started this off as basically a professional slacker. It's what I wanted to do. And the work kept coming, which is good. And we're trying to maneuver it around to do more work, and there wasn't room to do more work. And then the county people came out and said, you're not a hobbyist, you got to go. And it worked for a couple of years. I got away with it, you know. And I'm not saying go out there and try to get away with shit. I'm saying flatly is sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And Johnston was a step in the right direction. Our per foot price was reasonable. It was in the market realm, you know. It's what the market yielded, generally speaking, for warehouse space. We put up a decent enclosure so we could shoot some paint and not worry about contamination, not worry about gassing ourselves. We got out of there. We were pushed out of there. We were forced to leave. We got into a situation. I had one car that had to be inside because it was so much raw steel we were working on. And we weren't working on it steady. We couldn't bank dinner on just that project. We had another one that just had to come inside, and we needed to start working on it, but we couldn't because we couldn't really get to it. So now you got a space that you can fit 4 projects in, including the booth. There's already 2 that are there static in our way. Well, that's no fucking good. Now we're here. Now we're back in Des Moines. We're 2 miles from my front door to the door of the shop. I got my concerns that my partner, that I brought in with minority shareholding when we converted over to an LLC. I had concerns with him. I think passion is missing. And getting paid creates passion, it really does, and we haven't been. If we could have made this move 8 months ago, we'd be better for it. But we made this move going right into winter. Winter's always a bad time in the Midwest for mindset, you know. Lack of sunlight, it's cold, it's hard to get around, it's hard to do anything. So I'm hoping he finds the spirit. Back to my statement. People get so caught up in their goal, where they want to be, what they want, how much money they want, whatever. This idyllic of where I want to be, that too many of us, and I'm guilty too, lose sight of the journey itself. The journey itself is more imperative than that destination, that goal. You've got to stop and slow down and look around. Look back, realize, how far, if you can look back and realize how far you've come, how much you've evolved, then you're moving in the right direction, you're taking the right steps. Maybe not all the right moves, but all the right steps. Alright, so here we are. That's the last year or so in a nutshell, right? Cool. Right. Okay, moving on. So now I've got ruminating in this little cranium space. I'm not Mr. Subgenius. I'm not anything spectacular, okay? I got goals. I put these down and walked away for a while. I got these little cigars. I was doing good. I had a couple, 3 a day. Then I got up to like 6 a day, 8 a day. So I picked these up again. Bad part is I love a smoke with my coffee. How's that? The good part is when I put them down, when I walked away, I was at 2.5 packs a day. Not at a pack. I'm not at a pack a day yet. I don't plan on getting back to a pack a day. That's my current goal, is to not exceed a pack of these nasty things a day. As things get a little easier, stress gets a little easier. Stress will always be there. It's always going to be a gamble. It's always going to be a struggle. Because if it's not the setup and continuing operations, it's going to be something else I'm going to get into to push us to that next level. So, what I really want to talk about today is business and a business plan, planning a business, working on your business rather than working in your business. This is my Sunday morning coffee. We're going to clinic this a little bit. We're going to run this down. We've gone over some of this in various aspects and various pieces throughout discussions and my witless banter. But here's the deal. If your goal is to do the work in front of you, you're never going to get anywhere but the work in front of you. You're always going to scrape. You're always going to eke by. The days of work hard and the money will be there. It's not the same economic environment. And a guy has to acknowledge and understand that, okay? If you can't acknowledge and understand that at face value, you're going to continue to flounder until you eventually fail. It's not me being coy, it's me being honest. I got a lot of old timers that I've run into that are business owners, very well off and whatnot, and I get what they got to say and I listen to what they've got to say, but the rules are different now. Working on your business, it's exactly what I mean. You're going to spend time on the phone. You're going to spend time putting up ads on any paid or unpaid site you choose, running flyers, making contacts, going out and meeting people, maybe going to the bar and having a cocktail. You find the right places. That's work. That's work. It's part of it. It's part of the process. And being part of the process, you got to maintain that focus. If you're in business for yourself, self-employed, turning off, putting the tools down, turning off, and walking away for the day isn't really an option. I get to do that occasionally. The woman I have in my life, the household I have around me now, allows me to shut off and walk away. Which is, you've got to decompress at some point, or else you're going to drive yourself nuts. And then you'll start spinning wheels and you won't go anywhere. Or worse still, you go backward. But you have to, up front, you got to put equal parts in working on the business versus working in the business. And you've got to be careful with that you're not working on the business more than you're working in the business, because all you're going to do is build up the work and not get it done. When I did construction, we were doing six-figure and $250,000 years for a four-man operation. Not great, but not terrible. That was me with no understanding of accounting, a cursory understanding of estimating, poor management style. I saw a poor management style. But you can be the best craftsman on the planet, and if you don't value your time appropriately, if you don't manage your time appropriately, and you're not looking for other opportunities to turn a buck, just working on your labor alone isn't enough to operate a facility, to operate a company, and keep going indefinitely. My goal is to not be people dependent, but be system dependent. So there we are. Step one this year. We got a goal. Push ourselves to be system dependent, not people dependent. That way I can just take one person fucking right out of that slot, drop another person in, and go. I'm going to have to work on my management style, my management capacity. I'm going to have to work quite a bit on that, because it is a weak point of mine. But if I'm going to start moving in the direction I want to get this shop moved, we got enough facility now that we could work 2-3 people. I need to get my ducks in a row. I need to get labor lined up to make sure I can facilitate the work, and I need to get the work lined up so I can make sure I can facilitate the labor. We've got all the work right now we need. The problem is cashing in on that work, get that money out, get that money moving. You're not going to find a guy that'll come and work for an hourly that's going to wait a month for a paycheck. It doesn't work that way. So you got to have something nested away. Enter business plan. Like I said, I got a business plan ruminating in my brain. This has been my classic struggle for over a decade. I see where I'm at. I can see where I want to be. That end goal of established company. But all those stepping stones, all those blocks in between are a mystery to me. It's all utter chaos when I look out at the landscape and try to formulate a plan to move forward. So all we end up doing is the work in front of us. We don't have goals. We don't have. So there we are. I've learned more. I've evolved. I get it now better than I did prior. So that's my plan, is to assemble a business plan on paper with goals that are real and measurable. And then we're going to push towards those goals. So, where do we start? Well, you start with where you're at. Start with what you got on the docket currently. You can see it in front of you, you know what's going on. And start evolving a plan for the first month, 3 months, 6 months, and year. That's how this evolves. Sketch it out in a Roman numeral type of outline. Very rarely do my business plans get further than a Roman numeral outline. I don't need more than that for a breathing document for my business. So, little dude got in trouble. So there we are. You start sketching that out. If you have to, state where you're at in your immediate goals, the immediate week and 2 weeks and maybe month. Then you write out your goals for the end of the year, where you want to be, where you think you want to be. And then you start fleshing it in. You can work it from both sides to the middle. But you've got to lay it out in steps, both production goals and financial goals. You know, the goal is to get a paycheck and actually become part of the, you know, enter into some kind of tax bracket, right? Instead of floundering and not making any money. Alright, well, that's easy to say, I want more money, but how are you going to do it? So you got to lay out those ideas. You got to take your overhead, and your overhead is your salary too. Your salary, your rent or lease, your utilities, everything that doesn't change. Phone bill, trash pickup, everything that doesn't change month to month, or shouldn't change month to month, week to week. And you can aggregate that out. Get a solid yearly, annual figure. This is what I have to have it annually coming in. And then you break it down. Well, okay, annually, well, what do I gotta have monthly? What do I gotta have weekly? What do I gotta have daily? What do I gotta have hourly? When you start breaking it down and quantifying it like that, you can realize, hey, with all my stuff added up, and me and a helper, and this, that, the other, less materials or supplies that go directly to a project. And you gotta make sure you bill all the supplies that go to a project. You can't give paper, tape, primer, clear coat, shit that you inventory. You can't give that to a project. You can't give it away. You got to charge it off to a project. Even if it's an ounce at a time or a foot of tape at a time, you got to figure out how to quantify that. Generally, it's a shop supply fee of, you know, increments of $25 for us. It's about how I factor it. Consumables for the welder. You know, you gotta start there. That's where we're going to get started. So you quantify all that and you start making goals. Next Sunday I'll probably have a basic outline, show you kind of what I got going on. But I figured this was the best way to start off the new year. I'm gonna cut off there because I can go on for days. Yeah, I'm gonna work on quantifying goals for this new year. And again, overhead, you know, you factor all that shit out, and you may come to the realization that the shop as an entity, to pay you, to pay your helper or helpers, overhead, insurance, utilities, phones, everything that goes into it, everything that doesn't change, you may be like, fuck, okay, if we make You know, the shop operates. You got 2 people, it operates 80 hours a week. I gotta make $30 a billable hour every hour over there. Well, $30, 8 hours a day, $2,100, you know, $210. So $410. Because there's 2 of you. Every day is 16 hours, not 8. And you gotta start looking at it. You gotta start making sure that you're not figuring, you gotta figure man hour, billable shop hour, not every hour the shop's open. If you're looking at it as every hour the shop's open, you've got to factor that there's more than just one person, if there is. You know, if I had 4 helpers in there, that actually wouldn't make it a necessity of $820 a day. That necessity would actually drop as far as per man hour. You'd be down in the realm of like $18 or $21 a man hour. I'm throwing numbers out there. These aren't numbers specific. I'm just throwing numbers out there. But then adds the stress of running people, taking care of people, taking care of ordering and billing and sales. That's where we're at. You've got to make it work like that on paper. You got to make sure the math is there. This year I resolve I will work reasonable hours on the floor, in the shop, but I'm not going to work 60, 70, 80, 90 hours. That worked 10 years ago. It doesn't work like that anymore. And sometimes the old statement, I've heard the old statement a lot, well, something's better than nothing. No, it's not. If that job takes, you know, let's say you have to get $30 a billable hour to break even. No profit, no, it does just scraping by. And you aggregate a job out and it's, you know, a 20-hour job. Well, you have to have 600, what is it, 600 bucks for that, right? Minimum $600 for that. At your break-even threshold of $30 an hour. If you take on that job for $400, you may as well just stay home. Shut the lights off and stay home. Don't spend that money at the shop. Don't make the utilities go higher. Don't. You know, sometimes you've got to know when I'm going to stay home and go broke more slowly, and that's. It's a tough one to get over. It's a tough one to get your head around because you're thinking, fuck, it's still $400 that I didn't have before. But not only does that not put you ahead, not only does that not get you anywhere, you're getting further behind. You're getting further behind, you're getting frustrated, you're getting upset, you're getting depressed, you're not getting paid. There you go. Have a good one.